coming and listening to this talk, and I'm really happy to be here at the first AR in Action conference. I'm the founder of BostonAR.org. It is a nonprofit augmented reality accelerator that's looking to bring the ecosystem in Boston to the next level. And kind of to Ross's point, we genuinely do believe that kind of taking from the computer platform to the augmented reality platform will help us separate from machines and interact with the real world again. So AR is the future. We all know this, shot from Iron Man. We've seen this, we've heard of it, but where is AR now? That's what I want to talk about. We're at a conference called AR in Action. So I want to talk about how you can, in this room, can actually put it in action. This is the prediction that we've probably all seen. The fellow in the previous room talked about that. And this is where that futuristic picture will show up, right? So this is 2020. This is at least a few years away, if not further, depending on how the ecosystem develops. And this is where we are today at AR in Action. So you can see that little dark blue, that's supposed to be the quality of AR right now compared to where it will be in the future. So the question again is, what can we do today? What can we do about it now? Well, luckily, there is a very healthy ecosystem. If you want to get a copy of this, you can either take a photo or just Google VR Fund AR industry landscape. But the point is that almost everything you would need to build something is there. It exists. You don't need to do it. If you want to recreate the wheel and make a better one, you can, but this is already here for you to build off of. So what I want to talk about now is how to think about augmented reality as it's developing. And I propose that there are two concepts to think about, which is AR as a platform and AR as an interface. And if any of you agree or disagree with the thoughts that I put forward here, I would love to hear your thoughts and have them come talk to me afterwards. But as far as a platform goes, that is what we see on the left here. The platform of augmented reality headsets is hands-free computing. That's really what the platform is. The interface is all the cool stuff we can do with the data that we would visualize, the holograms, et cetera. So if we really think about them as two separate features of this augmented reality ecosystem, let's look at the platform. What else is there with hands-free computing? What does this enable? There's the idea of augmented lighting. So instead of glasses that project to you, what if all the light bulbs in the room could project information and had cameras in them as well, so it could see you and respond to you? Or obviously Alexa, there's another hands-free computing. So it's not just heads-up computing that a lot of AR talks about. I think it's the hands-free computing is what makes the platform so interesting. And then, of course, the interface in the future. This is really what Meta is kind of focused on, is how do you make the interface of augmented reality that more naturally connects with your kind of mental state or how you learn, things like that. So we've got a platform right now. The interface is still being developed. So how can you develop things for the community or the enterprise world or the commercial world if really what you have is the platform? You need to think about how to optimize around that. But the classic problem is that platform is not product, right? This is a good example of a platform where each one of those is a killer app. Each one of those is a product, right? You could buy a separate screwdriver or a corkscrew or whatever it might be. But then you've got platforms that aren't products. Google's Project Aura was a modular phone, the idea being that every morning you could choose what kind of phone you wanted, whether it had an advanced camera or a week worth of battery or some kind of advanced sensor. The problem was that this is a platform that you could do anything you wanted to, but they didn't tell you the one thing that it could do. For the military, this is great, because they already know what they want to do. They're very mission-driven. Consumers are obviously not that way, and in some level, enterprise is not that way either. Google Wave, another example of a platform that was not a product. It had a lot of capabilities, but no one really knew how to use it properly, and the same thing happened with Google Glass. I love Google, but these are platforms, not products. So when we're thinking about how to create an experience, if we have a platform, I think you want to look at, you've got your basic platforms, the headsets that have maybe just a camera and just a little display, all the way to your advanced headsets. And again, this is still just platform. But what you really want to think about is utility. You don't want to think about, oh, do I need a very basic set of opportunities for me or a very advanced set? You just want to think, what is my customer going to do with this? And what we found so far is enterprise actually gets a lot of value out of more basic glasses, but they get a lot of utility out of it because they're using the platform of hands-free computing. They're getting so much utility out of that, they don't need an advanced headset. This is where the interface will become more relevant. That's why holograms and Meta, they live over here, but all the glasses that you just talk to or that you can't even really interact with, they're over there. So again, the HoloLens is trying to be over here for the consumer, for the enterprise world rather, and it's still coming out there. The interface isn't developed, so the world doesn't know exactly how to use this platform to its full power. And what we see is Google Glass, while it was much more basic, they didn't tell you, again, what was the killer app? What can you do with this? So even the enterprise world wasn't able to get much utility out of Google Glass. There's another world out there. So I'm going to introduce another axis, and this is for the commercial world. Consumers don't really think about utility. So we're going to adopt a new set of terminology. Instead of basic headsets or basic experiences, advanced experiences, and the utility they provide, I propose that you think about functional experiences, wonderful experiences, and the delight that they will provide to your consumer. This is really what's going to make a difference in AR in the future. And what we see in that lens is the HoloLens is a little less interesting to consumers, because if you've all tried it, you can see a holographic dog and it barks at you, and that's great. There's really nothing I can do with that. There's never been a time in my day-to-day life I've thought, wow, the HoloLens would have been really helpful right now. And so maybe that'll change. Again, the interface is still being developed, so you'll see more of these areas start to move up in terms of both utility and delight. Snapchat, they really did it right. They thought, what is the customer going to get the most delight out of? They have an even more basic headset than Google Glass. All it does is shoot video effectively. But they knew that was what the consumer wants. The consumer wants to be able to tickle the hologram, no offense, Ross, and the consumer wants to be able to shoot video from their perspective. That's the killer app. So you don't need any of the other advanced stuff. Now that they have that platform out there, this hands-free computing platform, people love it. So this is what I'd really like you to take away from this talk, is really thinking that if you're looking at optimizing around the platform, you can do basic things. And if you want to optimize around the interface, there's a limit right now on what you can really do. So how's that going to change over time? Well, with basic and advanced, what we can really do with basic applications, headsets, and experiences is we can collect data to some degree, and we can present data, again, to some degree. But that's very useful. As we move to more advanced, what we can do is we can actually process and turn data into information. So how do I act on what these glasses are telling me, or whatever it might be? Or from the consumer world, again, with functional and wonderful, how do you create an experience? That's where an experience will really happen versus something functional that the consumer will enjoy on a day-to-day basis. And what we'll see is that sensors and connected devices, the Internet of Things, as AR connects to the IoT, which I think is a theme you're going to hear a lot, it's going to move all of this to the right. Your ability to collect and present data will turn into a more interesting experience. And you won't really just think about collecting data, because there'll be edge processing and things like that, where you'll almost be connecting to information directly. You'll also be able to collect so much more context-aware information that you can really turn this into an advanced and wonderful experience. Or you could turn it into something like this, which would be overwhelming and, frankly, awful for a consumer. But without the right design methodologies or principle, this is how you would think, hey, they just want every little bit of data as opposed to information. Well, there's this idea of less is more. So this is a concept called diminished reality, where what if you wanted to be able to focus and not have things around you to distract you? So for example, that trash can. Amber Case, she's in the other room right now. She does a lot of thinking about calm design and calm technology that is related to this. Steve Mann, the father of wearables, he's sort of the one who came up with this idea of diminished reality. Trash can's terrible. It is. Well, it's a good thing we got out of it, right? And then what we see is this AR, this augmenting reality, connecting to the Internet of Things and then bringing it back to your own experience. This will go across all of your senses. This is what we heard in the keynote speech as well, but we are already starting to see it in some ways. So we've got augmented reality for your visual channel. We've got smartwatches or wearables for your haptic channel that vibrates and lets you touch information. There's audio for your auditory channel, and 3D audio, if you've never tried it, is something wholly different. So sure, surround sound can sort of make it feel like things are coming from different parts of the room. 3D audio genuinely feels like someone is walking around you in a circle. It's a wholly different experience. Really quickly, because I don't like to plagiarize, these are the reference icons I used from the Noun project. They are under the Creative Commons license. And again, my name is Neil Gupta. I run Boston AR, so if you want to learn more about the augmented reality ecosystem, connect with fellow entrepreneurs, investors, people from the commercial world, whatever it might be, we have meetup events every month. You can join us at bostonar.org, or just come and chat with me. So again, thank you so much for your time. I hope if you pull one thing away from this, it's really to focus on the utility for your customer versus the intricacy of your experience developing something. Thank you so much.